truly believe appearance is not the most important aspect of who you are. Do sometimes my disordered thoughts think it's the only thing that matters? Yes. You good boy. You good boy. As you can see, for today's video, I am in bed. I am back at my family home because I'm looking after this little one. I'm coming to the end of my therapy, and I thought that yous could be my replacement therapy. So I've got the therapy tomorrow, and it's my second to last session. You may have noticed, you may not have noticed, that the frequency and types of videos that I have been uploading recently have been very different to what they have been in the past. Some would say I'm in my flop era, Heston. I've been in a bit of a creative slump, that's the word, recently. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself to have a lot of purpose in this world, and I feel like if I'm just creating content without a purpose, then I feel like I'm not doing enough or I'm not working hard enough, and that is a battle I have in my head quite often, and it almost leads me to do less because I get so overwhelmed by trying to make everything as perfect and as purposeful as possible that I end up doing absolutely nothing because I become so overwhelmed, and I get stuck in this like overwhelmed purposeless cycle. Follow me for a while, this is all going to sound very familiar because I occasionally watch back some of my old videos to try and see sort of how I've changed, because I think over the course of the 4 years obviously I've changed significantly, and I've noticed that this feeling that I'm feeling now has been quite a consistent theme, at least for the past year or two, which is somewhat demotivating, but I guess somewhat it feels almost positive in a way, because a lot of the worries I had last year, although I still have them this year, which plagues my brain, the positive I kind of take away from it is that, you know, I'm still here, I'm still doing it. Please don't leave me, stay with me. Now, I do feel like I still need to find a bit of like creative passion back and a bit of purposefulness back to an extent. I don't want to put too much pressure on it because that's what I've been doing at the moment, and it's been not boding very well for me. Am I focused still? So fucking irritated if I'm not focused in this. Now I can't remember what I was saying. Yes, I feel like I can get into the mentality where I'm constantly working out what I'm gonna do, then I feel like I live my life wondering what I'm gonna do next or how to get by next, and then I'm like completely missing the middle part, if that makes sense. Like I'm forgetting to like live now because I'm sort of living for the future. That is not the only reason why I haven't been doing as many uploads. The main reason for that is because of my self-image and my body image, and as you know, that is the reason that I am in therapy currently. I'm currently following the therapy guidelines for something called body dysmorphic disorder. I briefly spoke about this in one of my previous videos, but never in too much detail because it is something that I am currently suffering with and was significantly suffering with for quite a long time, specifically since this time last year, which you would have noticed me talk about, or you would have noticed me withdraw a lot from online, like around Christmas time last year, from summer last year through to like this summer. A lot of it is due to that because my body dysmorphia comes solely from my relationship I have with my face and how I perceive my face. And this is something I really struggle to talk about because not only do I want to make people feel like, I know I have quite a big eating disorder recovery community online. I don't want people to feel like if they recover from an eating disorder they'll end up with something else or X, Y, and Z. This is just like a part of my mental health journey. The reason it's caused an impact on my career, let's say, is because I have to look at myself probably more than the average person when it comes to creating content. Now, you may be like, well, Helena, you're always on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, and that is true, but Instagram and TikTok I almost feel are less triggering platforms to me because both Instagram and TikTok are so much quicker. I don't edit them as much. There's a lot of like external things, whereas YouTube, obviously this video for example, will just be me looking at however many minutes of footage just continuously of my face. And as much as I try to have the best relationship with myself and try to have a very compassionate view of myself, because I have this body dysmorphia, I can't help the way that makes me feel. Heston, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. That is one of the key reasons I find myself not able to upload and film content as much, is because when I am having negative image days, the last thing I really want to do is turn on the camera and look at myself, or worse, edit myself, because that is where the majority of my negative thoughts come from. And me and my therapist have been working together for 3.5 months now-ish, and I most definitely come so far in my journey with this, so much so, but the one thing I'm yet to tackle is that reflective image from the camera. But as I said, it is something that I've been really trying to work on, but it doesn't just happen overnight, you know, like I can't just wake up tomorrow and feel completely fine. I do some days I wake up and I feel like, I'll look in the mirror and I think, oh, I don't look that bad today, and then it could like an hour or so go past and all of a sudden these like disordered thoughts come into my head where we've completely twisted the way that my face looks, and I will kind of think that my previous self was lying. One thing I've touched upon recently with this in TikTok, I think I did a TikTok about this, and I've spoken highly about this with my therapist. The struggle I have with a lot of mental health issues like body dysmorphia and eating disorders, for example, they go against my morals and my ethics. My body dysmorphia makes me believe sometimes that like it makes me believe like it may there's no way of putting this nicely, but I guess the reality of it is it's not a nice thing to think, but it makes me look at myself and think that I am really ugly. The reason I think this goes against my morals is because, and I said this to my therapist, I've never seen someone and actively thought they're ugly. I know, Hairs, I know. I don't think beauty is the most important thing. I think obviously what we look like in the sense of, like, if we're talking about privileges, like pretty privilege and, you know, white privilege and all these things, they have a role. To an extent, what you look like will impact your existence, obviously. But do I think beauty is the most important thing? No. Do I think when I think about my friends and the people I love, I don't go straight to what they look like? I think about why I'm friends with them, why I love them, why I have people in my life is not because of what they look like. I will think all of these things about other people, and I'll think, no, it doesn't matter what you look like because of X, Y, and Z. But then, and I truly believe that, like, I'm not just saying those things to make anyone feel better or even myself feel better. And if you follow me for a while, you'll know that that's truly how I feel, because I do think how you experience and the life you have is what matters. And to an extent, I don't think that is dependent on like your beauty, obviously. I truly believe your appearance is not the most important aspect of who you are. Do I think it's the most important aspect of who you are? No. Do sometimes my disordered thoughts think it's the only thing that matters? Yes. That can be the really frustrating thing about mental health conditions, is that it doesn't feel like me and it doesn't feel like my beliefs. It just feels like someone else or something else. And I think that's probably why people perceive me as quite a happy person, or I would say I'm a happy person with a sad soul. I saw someone else write that once and I was like, that is a perfect way to describe it, because I feel like I am a happy person, but I feel like there is a negative energy coming from somewhere that almost doesn't feel like me. And of course it is me, of course I am my thoughts to an extent, but I do feel like there's elements to my sad soul that I can't myself help, and it's just almost the cards I've been dealt with, and it's just all very frustrating. I am getting better though. Just being able to talk about this should be a good suggestion, I guess, that I am feeling better about this, because a couple months ago this wasn't something I was able to discuss with, go back 6 months, this wasn't something I was able to discuss with my friends, let alone the couple thousand people that are going to watch this. So I definitely know I've come much further. I would love to be able to upload twice a week and be more present everywhere and not have to have these battles with my brain about, you know, what I look like and have these internal moralistic battles. I'd love not to have all of this, but you know, that is just the cards I've been dealt, and it is something that I've been trying to work through endlessly, and it's something that I will be trying to work through, I think, for a long time. But even just over the past 3 months, considering how far I've come, I feel like really happy with myself because of that. And you know, I'm really trying to get rid of those behaviors that my therapist thinks that are really, you know, holding onto the way I think. And a lot of that is uncomfortable. A lot of the stuff I've been doing in the past 3 months is really uncomfortable and anxiety and sadness inducing, and it has been really difficult to try and overcome these things. I know, honey. When you're looking at yourself, you're not seeing an objective view of yourself. When you look at yourself, you're looking at yourself from the eyes of someone with emotions that you may currently be feeling. You may be currently feeling sad. You're looking at from the eyes of any single comment that's ever been made about your appearance, whether you've made it or someone else has made it. You're looking at through the the lens of Heston. Don't stick your bum up there. Go on, down you go. Through the eyes of someone that, you know, may have past childhood trauma or anything like that. That's all going to impact how you look at yourself, and it's not through the objective eyes of anyone else. And I think that is something that I really try and hold on to, because it can be really difficult when you're used to seeing your face change so much. Like, I see my face and then the day later it will look completely different, and I will perceive it in such a different way. Realistically, and Heston, please stop sniffing. I know that that's not how life works. I'm perfectly aware that my face doesn't change in 24 hours or a couple days or a week even. Like, it doesn't change, but the way I perceive myself does, and it's all down to my opinions and my past and my emotions and everything that play a role into that. And I guess that has been something that I felt has been really important for me to try and get my head around. I've increased my dose on my antidepressants recently to hopefully also help with how I was feeling, which is quite beneficial now considering we're about to go into autumn and winter, which I will be honest, I am a little bit scared of. As much as I love autumn for me last year was probably one of the lowest points of my life, autumn and winter last year. This autumn, I'm kind of not preparing myself to feel like that again, but going into this season is, not triggering is not the right word, but I am thinking a lot about how I felt last season, which I'm finding quite difficult to do because I'm sort of like preempting this horrible shift in thoughts and feelings. But I am determined to make this season a good one and be a lot more compassionate to myself, and I think that's probably quite a shared experience. I think quite a few people often get quite nervous when going into like the colder, the darker months, because anything like me, then the light can really impact your mood. That can be quite nerve-wracking in general, but please know I'm gonna be back. Even if I'm just uploading shitty ass videos, I think I just want to be present be with you so you don't feel alone, and so I don't feel alone, and so we can both, if this is something that you are struggling with, please know that we can get through this together. Yeah, I promise I'm feeling better than I did this time last year, that's for sure. And at least this time, I guess this time last year I wasn't expecting anything. This time last year I feel a bit more prepared, kind of deal with whatever my brain kind of throws at me and being much more compassionate with myself than I was last time. Anyway, that concludes this episode of Sleepover Club. Thank you so much for bearing with me, by the way. If you're still here, if you've still like been here through the whole thing, been here forever, then I appreciate your love. See you next week. I'm gonna be back, I promise. Love you. Bye.